Hello and welcome back to the B-Town Breakdown. We had a huge weekend in the sports world and a lot to talk about. This is Gabe Fenster, Jayden and I'm Kara Adams. Let's get into it. IU basketball's had a pretty hot start to the season, starting 7-1 under the Mike Woodson era, but unfortunately they did have a tough loss in a double overtime thriller to Syracuse. Jayden, what were your thoughts on the game?
So I thought, obviously we didn't play well. You can't win a game with 28 turnovers.
It was like 35, I think.
I think that's the main point that I want to take away from that game. If they can sort out 28 turnovers, because Syracuse scored 35 points off of those turnovers.
Yeah.
We forced 11 turnovers from Syracuse and only scored 9 points off of them. That's a major problem. And I think going into it, I was very high on Indiana. I even put some money on them.
Whoa!
Syracuse is a good program.
Yeah.
When they get hot, they're a hard team to beat. I knew that Indiana would definitely have trouble with the zone. I think one thing that we have to take away, our three-point shooting is not that good. It hasn't been.
I think it's been. Parker Stewart had a lot of three-point shots.
I've noticed
that
our three-point shooting is great on open looks that are catch and shoot shots. Mm. When Tamar Bates does his little tween and takes a little step back for the three, I don't think I've seen that gone in once this year. So, and Tamar, in his last game against Nebraska, he had a couple of threes, and they were all catch and shoot threes.
Yeah,
I think,
feet set.
or one of them was crazy lucky off one foot, but that's besides the point.
That's just what happens when you're that athletic.
I think Mike Woodson didn't coach that game tremendously. I think he's still learning in this college era.
Yeah.
However, I don't think you trap with I don't think you full court press with 7 seconds left. I don't know. I think
also I don't remember if it was at the end of the first overtime or regulation, their last play when Christian Lander had the ball. That wasn't.
You take a timeout.
You had plenty of time,
for that.
And you had the timeout right before they put a good play together, and they could have won the game right there and ended it, but they didn't.
I also think in the first half you can't bench Trace Jackson Davis for 8 minutes in a row. That just can't happen. I think he puts out some spotty lineups sometimes. I think Geronimo, the first game of the season I watched him, he had that insane dunk.
Incredibly athletic.
Freak athlete.
Yeah.
The guy does not know where he is on the basketball court. He does some wild things that he's a freak athlete, but he does some questionable decisions on the court. What do you think, Gabe?
I've started to realize over the past few games that Indiana is a second half team.
Definitely.
A lot of slow starts.
They need to start strong in the first half, and they played terrible against Syracuse in the first half. It was pretty much over. We're down by 20, 23.
Yeah.
The Bayhives were lighting us up. Second half, Bayhives are shooters. They shoot a lot of threes. Syracuse, I see that, and they got to clamp up on the perimeter. But second half, they started getting strong. Turnovers were just way too much in the first half.
And in the second half.
And the second half too, but a little less in the second half.
Race Thompson, I think Race Thompson had 12 turnovers.
Race Thompson was sloppy.
The whole game.
But in the outcome, it was a close game, and I 100% believe that if they did not turn the ball over that many times, it would have been an easy win.
Yeah.
And I'm not upset with the team because it shows that they have potential if they just don't turn the ball over. Wisconsin's coming up. It's going to be a great game if we don't turn the ball over.
And I also think it was a positive that when they were down by I don't know how many points they got down by 18 or 20 at one point, and they came back from that to tie it.
Right.
That's a positive. They could have gotten blown out right then and there.
Like I said, they're a second half team. They came back strong.
I like that the team showed heart. That's something.
A lot of fight.
That's something that that's something you can't coach.
And that's something Indiana has always prided itself on back in the 70s and 80s.
The heart was a great thing to watch. However, I think what you just said was when they are turning the ball over, I don't feel too worried about it because it was an off night.
Right.
Yes, it was an off night. However, when your team turns the ball over close to 30 times, I think as a head coach, you need to make some changes. You need to figure something out. Maybe it's a figure it out up the court where it's where you play a trap offensive set where you're moving up the court. You can't have 30 turnovers in a game and be successful.
Yeah.
No, you can't. And
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with Wisconsin, but I'd be surprised if Mike
Personally,
Woodson didn't have a little chit chat in the locker room after the game with the Hoosiers because
I imagine he did.
No,
'cause
for
they
sure.
played way better
of
against
course he's an
Nebraska.
NBA coach. He took the Knicks to the playoffs. That must have been pretty difficult. But yeah, I mean I think with Wisconsin coming up, I'll see a lot of changes in turnovers. Tamar Bates, I like the confidence in him. He's a young kid.
He
He's
wants to
19
win
years
so
old.
badly. You can tell.
18
it's
years
so
old.
competitive.
Yeah,
I'd like to see Christian Lander get a lot more playing time. I think he is the most skilled guard in that.
Sometimes he's just a
I
little
think he's the most
crazy
skilled
with
guard
the-
out of.
I disagree. I think Xavier Johnson's a little more experienced.
I think
And I
he's
think
more
you're going to need
experienced.
Rob
I think there's a
Hennessy
difference.
in this game too, going at because he's played at these Big Ten road games.
They just get into too much foul trouble, and I haven't seen I haven't seen so much special out of Rob Hennessy himself to surprise me.
I know. I've always loved Rob ever since his freshman year.
Miller Kopp is getting hot.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
been
the
getting hot.
way he's been playing.
Yeah.
TJ Dean is
Obviously,
the player
Chris
of the year.
Jackson, yes, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think he needs to develop a jump shot still. I think if he wants to go to the NBA, which I definitely think he can, he's gonna be a college
He's definitely
basketball
gonna
player
get
of the year
drafted.
candidate.
Yeah.
He needs a jump shot. He plays too big for the NBA.
in conclusion to this, if the only way in order to beat Wisconsin is to
Limit turnovers.
decrease turnovers and make free throws.
Make your free
He
throws.
played great defense.
Yeah,
Indiana
defense
plays
is great.
No, I think, like I said, decrease turnovers, make the free throws, and we're a contender for a
And
high
like,
seed.
and like
Yeah.
Syracuse lit us up from 3. If that happens, I think that's you're just gonna have to accept that happens.
Right, that's just
It
there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, they got hot.
Yeah.
All right, well, to wrap up Indiana basketball, the Hoosiers will take on the Wisconsin Badgers Wednesday night, and a win there will be their first win at Wisconsin since 1998. So be ready for a good game. All right, let's move on from college basketball to the NBA. So who do you all think is the current best team in the league as of right now?
I'm gonna have to say the Golden State Warriors.
Jayden?
I'm gonna have to say the Phoenix Suns. I mean, on what was it, a 16, 17 game win streak? I think
17.
those two are obviously the best 2 teams in the league. I just think there's a difference in the way those teams are built. The Suns are a team, and I think the Warriors are. I don't know how to explain it. It seems
Clay's not back yet.
Clay's not back.
That's the reason why I say the Warriors, though.
But
Because
I don't
Clay
think.
is still on the roster.
I think when Clay
So
comes
is
back,
Wiseman.
I think it hurts him. I think
Really?
it hurts the Warriors
Really?
personally. I mean,
Why?
they've been
I don't think-
hot. Anytime you have a hot team and you add who's missing a star
You
player,
don't want to mess up the momentum.
you don't want to mess up the momentum and chemistry. And I definitely think when Clay comes
But he's
back,
also been there
They're
for
gonna-
a
they're-
long time.
But
They're
he's
gonna
a
be-
star.
so-
But he's not a main ball. He's not like the main ball handler on the team. He's not gonna totally
Which is why
recreate
I
the
don't think
offense.
the
He's
Suns-
just gonna add more to the offense.
which is why I don't think the Suns are personally the best team in the league because they rely on so many individual talent. I
Yeah,
think the Suns are more of a cohesive unit. Big words there.
big word.
The Warriors have just crazy nights. Steph putting up 50, Damian Lee, Andrew Wiggins going nuts from behind the line. I think the Suns have a cohesive unit. They have actual fundamental ball handling skills in Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton when they run that pick and roll together. And I just think they're better built for long-term success.
I think if
Okay,
you put
that's a good
you put the Suns next to the Warriors, their starting lineups, the Suns outbeat the Warriors.
Right.
But you look at the depth of the bench and the Warriors, totally.
The bench of the Suns is incredible.
Yeah.
It is deep, but I think the Warriors bench, you're not gonna have any problems bringing in substitutions.
Again, I think you have to say the same thing for the starting 5 as the bench. The Warriors have individual talent off their bench, and I don't know. I haven't watched a ton of Warriors games this year. From the ones that I have, it seems like you pick a guy who's hot on that night and keep feeding him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it seems like. And I've watched Suns games. Chris Paul is my favorite player in the league. And he's continuing to prove why he's the point guard.
Right. And I don't know what's gonna happen later in the season. Right now, the Lakers aren't looking too well.
No.
But when the playoffs come and the Western Conference Finals are coming, I don't know what's going to happen. Because you got the Warriors, you got the Suns, you got the Lakers. They're all in the Western Conference.
I'm not going to be convinced on the Warriors until I see at least 2 months of Clay playing full-on basketball.
When Clay comes back, they're either going to be, like you said, the momentum's going to be lost and they're going to be worse, or they're just going to be unbeatable.
I don't see
Only
that.
time will tell.
I see them slowing down at the beginning for a little bit, but I see them boosting back up in the end.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens later in the season, but right now I got Warriors and Suns in the Western Conference Finals if the momentum keeps up.
Alright. Well, we've still got a long season ahead of us for the NBA season, but that wraps up our NBA talk.
What's up, guys? It's Zach. You know the gist. We're here on Jordan Avenue, and today we're going to go expose some Greek life students. So, let's find out, are you even a fan? All right, guys, I'm here with
Caroline.
Rachel.
Michelle.
So my first question for you is the Indiana basketball team is 6-1 so far. Our only loss was to Syracuse last week. How are you feeling about the season?
I have high hopes. I think it's going to go well. But yeah, that Syracuse one was a little rough, but it's okay.
Yeah. Hey, Gordo, how are you feeling about the season? Yeah.
Feeling good. I mean, they're a really fun team to watch, and they have some good players, and I think like Woodson's doing a great job, so it's looking good from here, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, I love going to the games. Student section's fun. I mean, I think it's a good time.
My second question for you is Purdue is actually the #1 team in the country for the first time in program history for them, and they're led by center Michael Scott. How are you feeling about that?
Not well.
Makes
me want to throw up.
Yeah. Michael Scott coming straight out the office. Yeah. Do you think we can upset Purdue this year?
Yeah, I think they're overrated.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think they deserve the hype, but it's just me.
Yeah. How are you feeling about Indiana's chances of upsetting Purdue? You think so? #1 team getting off the board?
I've got hope. Not done yet. So
Not down yet.
yeah.
Okay, for sure. Fedro Ladipo, man, come back to Assembly Hall. I miss you, brother. Bing bong.
Thanks, Zach. Now we're back in the studio to wrap up our show today with some boxing talk. So, boys, what are your predictions for the Paul versus Woodley fight?
I got Tyron Woodley this time because I think the world of boxing is done playing these games of money and all that and fame, and it's time for Jake Paul to go down. It is.
Jayden?
Okay, so that was his opinion.
Now let's hear yours.
Tyron Woodley stepped in 2 days ago. This is Tuesday currently, December 7th as we're recording this. And I would like to say he stepped in on 2 days' notice. He stepped in 2 days ago for a fight on 2 weeks' notice. He is not ready for this fight. Jake Paul has been training for this fight for almost 6 months now. Tommy Fury unfortunately had to drop out. And I still think Jake Paul would have given Tommy Fury a fight. Furies are known as the greatest fighters of all time. Tyson Fury is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, if not the greatest. Jake Paul is going to spark him. And that's going to be the rest of the Tyron Woodley-Jake Paul fight's never going to happen again. Tyron Woodley is done, and it's the end of his fight career. He had a great fight career, but...
Well, we'll find out who's going to win on December 18th. But that's it for our show today. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in, and be sure to follow us along on Twitter and Instagram at IUSTV Sports. I'm Kara Adams.
I'm Gabe Fenster.
And I'm Jayden Betron.
And we'll see you next time.